Items in Pantheon will generally be tradable. The only exception would be, let's say there's a quest item that you need to turn in. We don't want that stuff, being traded back and forth. But if you get a great, fiery sword or some leggings or boots or what have you, you'll be able to trade those. We want an active, player-driven economy. We realize that means that some of these items will, trickle down, kind of what people have been calling mudflation for quite a while. But we have lots of systems in the game that will slow down this mudflation. You'll be able to take some of these items that you no longer need and go to a temple, sacrifice them, and get a long-term buff. There'll be other quests that will require you to turn in your items in order to receive the crest reward, which is hopefully an even better item. This issue is also related to our situational gear plan, and that is there is at any given time no best, let's say, sword or axe or chest plate. It's really kind of situational. In our game we have climates. You can have an area that's, the basic ones are you have an area that's really hot or cold, but we'll also have, areas in a dungeon where there's poison or whether there's a spell or a curse in an area that causes silence where you can't cast spells in a conventional way, or even something that causes confusion, which gives you, different deficiencies when you're fighting. So you're going to need items of various types to overcome these climate conditions, which will lead to you collecting more items and specialized items for certain types of areas. Now, this will not be an inventory madhouse. We have an outfitting system where you can define what an outfit is. You can go into inventory and you can take a selection, a set of items. You can define those as an outfit, let's say maybe for frost resistance, and you can very quickly switch between them. And anyway, so why I bring this up is players, especially collectors, will be holding on to a lot more items because there are so many items that are situational, and this also will slow down that mudflation that will occur to some degree. There's a lot of talk out there about making MMOs and whether they're a sandbox or whether they're a theme park. And what I think people mean is, with a sandbox, is it really an open world? Can you go where you want? Whereas a theme park, you're more on rails and you're kind of, guided around, from point A to point B to point C in the game. And Pantheon is definitely more of a sandbox game. It's open world, you can go where you want. I'm not saying you'll survive wherever you go, but you do have that freedom. Now, what I do think makes sense, though, are small theme parks within the greater sandbox. And those would be adventure areas or dungeons where you kind of are guided, you are on a track to some degree, getting to a certain point, maybe getting to the end of a quest or getting to a boss mob, or maybe we even instance that little small portion of the final adventure. Downtime in MMOs, I think, is very important, although it's something that can be taken too far or not far enough. We don't want a situation where the action is just, bam, 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 bam. There's no time to stop and rest and talk to your group mates and see what's going on. At the same time, in the past, especially with some of the earlier MMOs that I was involved with, so I think this is something that I've learned that it will hopefully make for a better game. There's been, you could have downtime that's just way too long, where you're just sitting around, especially something like camping or grinding. You get into some kind of repetitive situation and it's just boring. You're sitting there for minute, hours, whatever. And so we don't want that. What we do want is a happy medium, and that is there are times to stop, there are times to recollect and think through where you're at, talk to your group mates, form tactics or strategy for the next encounter,